Title suggestion: Why your best decisions are failing. According to the 3,000-year-old I Ching, you are about to make a decision your competitors are hoping you make. You have the data. You have the spreadsheets. You have the expert opinions. And yet, you feel a hollow weight in your chest because deep down, you know that logic is failing to account for the one thing that actually governs your life: the invisible rhythm of change. 3,000 years ago, a man sitting in a lightless dungeon, facing execution, saw exactly what you were going through. He didn't have a computer, but he had something far more powerful: a map of the human experience that has outlasted every empire, every currency, and every disruptive technology ever conceived. While your world demands you move faster, he would tell you that your speed is exactly why you are losing. You are fighting the current of the universe, and the universe never loses. Today, we step out of the noise and into the silence of the I Ching. To understand the weight of the I Ching, we must travel back to the year 1000 before the Common Era. Imagine the Wei River Valley in ancient China. The Shang dynasty, once glorious, has become decadent and cruel. The emperor, a tyrant named Zhou Xian, has imprisoned a man named Ji Chang, the future king Wen, in a place called Yoli. Ji Chang is not a common criminal. He is a man of immense wisdom, a leader of the Zhou people. He sits in a stone cell for 7 years. He does not know if he will live to see the sunrise. In that darkness, where most men would have succumbed to despair or madness, Ji Chang did something extraordinary. He took the 8 basic trigrams of ancient legend, simple combinations of broken and solid lines representing heaven, earth, fire, and water, and he expanded them. He stacked them. He layered them. He saw that life was not a series of random events, but a sequence of 64 distinct moments of transition. He wrote the judgments for each of these 64 hexagrams. He turned his prison into a laboratory of the human soul. This was the birth of the Zhou, the core of what we now call the I Ching, or the Book of Changes. Think about the stakes of that moment. The king was not writing a book of fortune-telling to find out if he'd get rich. He was trying to understand the cosmic architecture of power, survival, and timing so that his people could overthrow a tyrant and build a civilization that would last for millennia. We live in an era that worships the pivot, the hustle, and the disruptor. We treat change as something we must force or something we must fear. But for the ancient strategist, change is not an enemy. It is the only constant. It is the breath of the world. Did you know that the legendary mathematicians Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz and even Carl Jung were obsessed with this text? Leibniz saw in the I Ching the foundations of the binary code that runs the very device you are using to watch this video right now. The ancient world and the digital world are connected by the same pulse. The movement between 1 and 0, between the solid line and the broken line, between action and stillness. Today, we face a global landscape that King Wen would recognize instantly. We see the fall of old institutions, the rise of unpredictable leaders, and the crushing anxiety of an uncertain future. We try to solve these problems with more information. But information is not wisdom. Information tells you what is happening. The I Ching tells you when to move. In the next 20 minutes, we will decode 4 pillars of this ancient wisdom. We will apply them to the boardrooms of Silicon Valley, the struggles of the modern professional, and the internal battles of the individual seeking clarity. If you are waiting for a sign to act, or if you are wondering why your best efforts are yielding no results, the answer is already written in the lines. Our first teaching comes from the very beginning of the book. Hexagram 1. Qian, the creative. This is the energy of pure action, pure light, and pure potential. But the I Ching warns us that even the most powerful energy must respect the law of timing. The text says, "Hidden dragon. Do not act." Think about that. The dragon is the most powerful symbol in the Eastern world. It represents the height of mastery. Yet, The very first instruction for the ultimate power is to stay hidden. To decode this, we must understand that every great endeavor has a period of gestation. In our modern culture, we are told to build in public, to announce our wins, and to launch early and break things. The I Ching says this is the path of the fool. When the dragon is hidden, it is not being lazy. It is accumulating strength. It is observing the terrain. It is ensuring that when it finally does emerge, its victory is inevitable. Consider a modern parallel, the development of the iPhone at Apple. For years, the project was a hidden dragon. It wasn't announced. It wasn't teased. It was developed in a secret room where even other Apple employees weren't allowed to enter. They didn't act until the technology, the market, and the internal design were in perfect alignment. Contrast this with the countless startups that burn through millions in venture capital by launching a beta that isn't ready, screaming for attention before they have earned the right to be seen. They are dragons trying to fly before they have scales. The actionable principle is this: silence is a strategic multiplier. If you are in the early stages of a project, a career shift, or a relationship, protect your energy. Do not seek validation from the crowd. The crowd's praise is a distraction that weakens the dragon's resolve. Ask yourself, are you talking about your goals more than you are working on them? If the answer is yes, you are violating the first law of the creative. We move now to a darker place. Hexagram 29. Kansas. The abysmal. Water. This hexagram is feared by many because it represents danger, crisis, and the feeling of being trapped in a pit. But the I Ching offers a profound secret for navigating the abysmal moments of your life. The text reads, "The abysmal repeated. If you are sincere, you have success in your heart, and whatever you do succeeds." What does it mean to be sincere in the middle of a crisis? It means being like water. Water does not fight the pit. When water falls into a ravine, it stays true to its nature. It fills the hole, inch by inch, until it reaches the level where it can flow out the other side. It does not panic. It does not try to flow uphill. Most people, when they face a financial crisis or a career setback, do the opposite of water. They thrash. They lie to themselves. They try to find a shortcut out of the pit. They lose their sincerity, their alignment with reality. Look at the story of Netflix in 2011. They made a disastrous decision to split their DVD and streaming services, a move called Quickster. Their stock plummeted. Their customers were furious. They were in the abysmal. Reed Hastings didn't try to spin his way out with lies. He didn't blame the market. He issued a sincere, blunt apology. He acknowledged the pit. And then, like water, he stayed true to the core mission of the company, delivering content digitally. He filled the pit with better original programming and global expansion. He didn't fight the crisis. He flowed through it. The actionable principle is, in times of danger, your only way out is through absolute honesty with yourself and your situation. Do not ask, how do I get out? Ask, what is the truth of this moment? When you align with the truth, the pit eventually fills itself. Have you ever noticed how the most successful people seem to suddenly lose everything just when they think they've made it? This brings us to our third teaching, the law of the cycle. This is found in the transition between hexagram 11, tie, peace, and hexagram 12, pi, standstill. In the I Ching, peace is represented by heaven being below the earth. This seems counterintuitive. Shouldn't heaven be above? No, because heaven's nature is to rise, and earth's nature is to sink. When heaven is below, they move toward each other. They meet. They create. This is the peak of a cycle. But the text warns, the small departs, the great approaches. High fortune, success. The danger of peace is that it feels permanent. When business is good, when the marriage is stable, when your health is strong, you believe this is the new baseline. You stop being vigilant. You stop growing. You become above, and the earth becomes below, moving away from each other. This is the exact moment standstill begins. We see this in the big box retailers of the early 2000s. Companies like Blockbuster or Sears felt they were in a state of permanent peace. They were the giants. They stopped listening to the emerging trends of the internet and e-commerce. The small departed, and the great stagnation approached, because they didn't recognize that peace is a temporary alignment of forces. They were destroyed by the very stability they relied on. The I Ching teaches us that the strategist remains in peace by preparing for standstill. The actionable principle is, when you are at your peak, that is the time to be the most humble. When you are winning, look for the small things you are ignoring. If you don't acknowledge the small will eventually grow into the monster that consumes your success. Our final core teaching is perhaps the most humbling for any leader or student. Hexagram 4. Meng. Youthful folly. The text is famous for its bluntness. It is not I who seek the young fool seeks me. At the first oracle I inform him. If he asks 2 or 3 times, it is importunity. If he importunes, I give him no information. This is the ancient law of mentorship and data. In our modern world, we have real-time analytics. We check our stats every 5 minutes. We ask the same question to a dozen different consultants. We keep pivoting our strategy every time we get a piece of data we don't like. The I Ching calls this the young fool. If you ask the universe, or your data, or your mentors, the same question over and over because you didn't like the first answer, you are not seeking wisdom. You are seeking a lie that makes you feel better. Think about a trader who sees a clear signal that a stock is overvalued. They don't like that answer, so they look for another indicator. They ask a different analyst. They keep asking until they find someone who tells them to buy. That is importunity. They have silenced the oracle of reality. The actionable principle is, respect the first answer. Whether it comes from your intuition, your mentor, or your data, the first clear signal is usually the truth. Every subsequent question is just your ego trying to find a way to be wrong. Stop looking for a second opinion when the first one was simply hard to hear. We have walked through the dungeons of history and the boardrooms of the modern age. But wisdom is useless if it remains in the head. It must move to the hands. If you want to align your life with the Book of Changes, I want you to do 3 specific things this week. These are not suggestions. They are the exercises of the Ancient Strategist. First, the hidden dragon audit. Identify one project or goal that you have been talking about too much. Perhaps it's a business idea you've been posting about on LinkedIn, or a personal change you've been telling all your friends you're going to make. Starting tomorrow, you will enter a period of silence for that project. For 7 days, you will not speak of it to anyone. You will not post about it. You will not seek advice on it. You will only work on it. Feel the pressure build up in that silence. That pressure is the dragon's strength returning. You will find that when you stop leaking your energy through your mouth, your hands become twice as fast. Second, the sincerity check. Look at the area of your life where you feel the most abysmal, where there is the most friction, danger, or fear. Ask yourself the one question you've been avoiding. Are you in this mess because of bad luck, or because you haven't been sincere with the facts? Write down the 3 most uncomfortable truths about your current situation. For example, I am losing money because I am lazy with my accounting, or my relationship is failing because I prioritize my ego over empathy. Do not try to fix them yet. Just acknowledge them. Like water, you must fill the pit with the truth before you can flow out of it. This week, your task is simply to stop lying to yourself about the depth of the hole. Third, the small observation. If things are going well for you right now, do not celebrate. Instead, find the small thing that is departing. What is the tiny detail you've started to ignore because you're too busy being successful? Is it the quality of your customer service? Is it the way you speak to your subordinates? Is it the 15 minutes of meditation you've started skipping? This week, you will obsess over that small thing. You will bring it back to the center of your attention. By honoring the small while you are still great, you prevent the cycle from turning towards standstill. You stay in the state of peace by acting as if the danger is already at the door. We began with a man in a dungeon. King Wen didn't just survive those 7 years. He used them to decode the universe. He understood that the lines of life are always moving. A solid line becomes a broken line. A broken line becomes a solid line. Nothing is fixed. The decision you are about to make, the one you were worried about at the beginning of this video, is not a destination. It is just a line in a hexagram that is still being written. If you act with the timing of the dragon, the sincerity of water, the humility of peace, and the respect for the oracle's first answer, you cannot fail. Because failure is only what happens when we refuse to change with the world. The I Ching is not a book you read. It is a book that reads you. It is a mirror. If you don't like what you see, don't break the mirror. Change your face. In our next episode of the Oracle's Wisdom, we will delve into the strategies of Sun Tzu's art of war, not for the battlefield, but for the silent wars we fight within ourselves. If you found clarity in these lines, there is a link below to a translation of the I Ching that I recommend. It is the same one I have kept by my side for decades. Do not subscribe because you want more content. Subscribe because you refuse to be the young fool who asks the same question twice. Stay wise, stay centered, and remember, the dragon is only hidden until it is time to fly. The prisoner in the dungeon was more free than the tyrant on the throne, because he knew that the seasons of the soul always, eventually, turn. See you in the next cycle.